So you don't remember what is taught, what was taught in. No, not maximum. The last one I'm asking.
Friday class.
Yes.
Just about basics.
Mm-hmm.
About.
No, it was not on Friday. Which one? Actually. So you don't remember? This is done? No?
All 15 slides are left over.
No, what is the last? This is done, no? Floating solar plant.
Sir, railway department floating solar plant.
This is done. Okay. So from here we have to do, right? How many of you revised after going home everything that was taught in the class? You didn't do it. No, you did not write the notes. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I think it is there on the portal. You have to check from there. Okay. Yeah. So after completing the class, you have to, revise the notes which is given. Otherwise, you'll forget everything because every day many topics are being taught here. Okay. Now look at the next topic. First International Solar Festival. See, from exam point of view, whenever something is given as first, like maybe first in India or maybe first in world, something first of its kind, this becomes very, very important, right? So first International Solar Festival, where was this held? This was held in New Delhi, right? So who conducted this festival? It was conducted by International Solar Alliance, not by Modi or Amit Shah, right? So it was conducted by International Solar Alliance. Can you tell me where is the headquarters of International Solar Alliance?
Yeah.
Very good. So it is in Gurgaon, which is in Haryana. So many people, if they don't attend the class, and when the word international is used, they'll feel that it is not there in India. So they'll mark some other option like, France or some other thing, right? So where is International Solar Alliance? It is headquartered in Haryana. So International Solar Alliance, it is a joint venture of both India and France, right? India and France are the co-founders of International Solar Alliance, right? Now, what is the purpose of this solar festival and why this International Solar Alliance was formed?
To promote renewable energy and for promoting the solar energy power, sustainable development of solar energy.
Yeah. So here ISA is aiming to, increase the usage of solar energy, right? So increase the usage of solar energy because solar energy is a type of renewable energy. What is the meaning of renewable energy? Yes, very good. Now let us say, for example, there is sunlight. So where is solar energy coming from? It is coming from the sun, right? So sun is there every single day, right? So it is there even on a rainy day also, but we are unable to see it, right? So in the smaller classes, you might have learned this thing. Sun rises in the dash east. Are you sure? Absolutely wrong. Sun does not rise or sun does not set. There's no rising and setting of sun. What Earth is actually revolving around the sun. Sun is not, rising or setting, right? So this is very, very important. So regarding International Solar Alliance, they can ask two important questions. Question number one, where it was held recently? It is held in New Delhi. Question number two, where is the headquarters? It is in Gurgaon, which is in Haryana. Question number three, who are the founders of this International Solar Alliance? It is co-founded by both India and France, right? This is very important. Next, International Air Transport Association. Now, this International Air Transport Association is conducting its annual general meeting next year, that is in June 2025 in India, right? Almost after 42 years, we are conducting this meeting in India. And what is this meeting? So in this meeting, all the air transport stakeholders. Now, what is the meaning of stakeholders?
The players who are involved in the air category, air flying, air
Yes.
mobilization category.
Yeah. So no, I didn't ask very specific to air transport, but I'm asking about the general meaning of stakeholders. Who are stakeholders?
So, I mean, shares inside a company, they are stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, that is with respect to company, but general meaning of stakeholders are people who are involved in it. Now, let us say, for example, the stakeholders in a classroom are students, teachers, or maybe the support staff, right? Sometimes software development company, because they're, developing software for the institutes, right? So all of these people are stakeholders. So in aviation industry, who are the stakeholders? So here, it can be airline companies. So all over globally, there are around 400 airline companies, right? And in this IATA, that is an International Air Transport Association general meeting, we are expecting at least 330, airline companies to come to this particular event, right? And here, also the government officials of the aviation department, so they will also come here, and they'll discuss about the global aviation industry, right? So India is conducting this annual general meeting of IATA for the third time in June 2025, which is in this year only, not next year. So June 2025 is after your exam, right? So as of now, India has conducted this AGM twice. So this will be the third time. So two times it was conducted. First time it was conducted in 1958 and second time it was conducted in 1983, right? They will not go so deep in the exam, but they can ask you, this is third time we are conducting this meeting in India. And after how many years? After almost 42 years, 1983 plus 42, that is 2025. Sai, come here, sit in the front. What happened? You have got long side or short? Achha. Next, is this clear? These two topics, is there any confusion? Only this much is sufficient from exam point of view, right? Next, SCO. What is the full form of SCO? Very good. SCO is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Where is Shanghai? It is in China, right? So the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, so this is a economic and defense group which was founded by China and Russia. This is a grouping which was, founded by China and Russia. So who are the founders of International Solar Alliance? India and France. So who are the founders of Shanghai Cooperation Organization? China and Russia, right? So these two people, so they wanted to work around the economic aspects, political aspects, defense aspects around the Shanghai region, in the Asian region, right? So we can actually call it as a Eurasian grouping because both European and Asian countries are involved in this, right? So recently, Shanghai Cooperation meeting was held in which place? Astana. So where is Astana? It is in Kazakhstan, right? So who represented India in this meeting? S. Jaishankar, Subramaniam Jaishankar. He is a External Affairs Minister of India, right? So when was SCO formed, Shanghai Cooperation Organization? It was formed in 2001. How about International Solar Alliance? It was formed in 2015, 1-5, whereas SCO was formed in 2001, right? So recently it was held in Kazakhstan, Astana, which is the cap of Kazakhstan, right? And where is the headquarters of Shanghai Cooperation Organization? The headquarters of SCO is in Beijing. Where is Beijing? It is in China, right? So this is again very, very important. Next. International Dairy Federation Regional Dairy Conference. Now, this International Dairy Federation, so this is one of the most reliable resources for innovations in dairy technology as to what methodologies you have to use to get more produce, right? So how do you, feed the cattle, right? So when do you have to milk them, right? So when they have to, go for breeding. So all of these things, they are given by this International Dairy Federation. So every year they'll come up with a lot of innovative solutions. And recently their meeting was held in Kochi, which is in which Indian state? Kerala. Right. So they can ask you in the exam, where is this, International Dairy Federation regional meeting held recently? It was held in Kerala. It was held in Kochi, which is in Kerala. Next. Where was International Solar Alliance meeting held recently? It is in New Delhi. You're not paying attention in the class. Next, world's third largest domestic aviation market. Now, what is the meaning of aviation?
Airline market.
So aviation is airlines, right? So aviation is divided into, two parts. Again, like it can be domestic aviation and international aviation. Then there is aviation for civilians, which is transportation of human beings. And some of the aviation, sorry, not transportation, it is a wrong word. So, it is for the traveling of human beings, right? For general transport. However, some of the airlines are used for transportation of, material. Right. Maybe if you want to send some goods, you'll send it through the airlines if you want to send it faster. Right. So domestic aviation market, which is local aviation market. So India has become world's third largest domestic aviation market. So who is the first one? First is USA
China.
and this China, right? So largest domestic, aviation market is there with US and then followed by China. So India has actually, increased its civil domestic aviation. I think almost, the capacity of Indian civil aviation market is somewhere around 15.5 million, right? So 15.5 million capacity is there for the domestic, aviation market in India. This is very important. So earlier, before India, in the earlier years in 2023, who was the third largest domestic aviation player? It is Brazil, right? Now India replaced Brazil. This is again very, very important. They can also ask about for second, fourth, fifth, they won't ask. They'll ask either the first one or the rank of India, right? Second and third, unless it is a very good friend of India, like Pakistan or something, they will not ask the question in the exam, right? Next. Very important question, actually. First country to prepare entire fauna checklist. What is the meaning of fauna? See, there
Animal
are two
life.
terms in, environment, ecology, and biodiversity. One is flora, another one is fauna. What is flora? Flora is plant species. Now, what are plant species? Your plants, leaves, flowers, right? Roots. So all of these would fall under flora. Different types of plants, you'll call them as Anu. Lose it. So fauna is what? Fauna is animal species. So what is the first country to prepare entire animal checklist? Fauna, animal species ka checklist? It is India, right? So who announced this particular thing? It was announced by Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav, right? So this is very important. Next, the International Sugar Organization Conference. Now, what is this Sugar Organization Conference? I think yesterday, in Friday's class, Nitin sir might have talked about Bharat Mandapam, which is in New Delhi, right? So what is the meaning of sugar
Diabetes
organization?
patients,
Diabetes?
bringing
Yeah,
awareness about the diabetes disease or
yeah. But it is not related to diabetes. International Sugar Organization Conference is bringing all the sugar producing and sugar consuming countries together, right? Now, International Sugar Organization, ISO, International Sugar Organization. This is a UN affiliated body, right? Which means this body is affiliated to the United Nations. Don't worry if you don't understand what is United Nations. We will talk about it in detail in our static GK classes, right? So for the time being, remember that United Nations is an international body which was formed in the year 1945 after World War II, right? We will talk about it in our static GK classes. So now here, International Sugar Organization, the recent conference is bringing together all the sugar producing and sugar consuming countries in India. So where is the headquarters of International Sugar Organization? Can you take a guess?
Amsterdam.
No, it is in London. The headquarters of International Sugar Organization is in London, right? So what is the aim of this meeting? To bring all the sugar producing countries, sugar consuming countries, sugar trading countries, people who are exporting and importing sugar, all of them are coming together, right? And how sugar is made? Do you have any idea as to how sugar is made? Sugar is made from what? Is it a plant
Sugarcane.
animal produce? It is a plant produce, right? Mhm. Yes, yes, you're right. From? Hmm. Now, who is the largest consumer of sugar in India? This can be a GK question or current affairs question. Largest consumer of sugar. Very good. Absolutely right. Largest consumer of sugar is India. Who is the largest producer of sugar?
India.
Brazil. Right. So Brazil is the largest producer. So they cultivate a lot of sugar cane, whereas India consumes a lot of sugar. Right. And second largest producer of sugar. Who is that? India. Right. Second largest producer of sugar is India. Now, most of the people, they will feel that sugar is created from sugar cane, which is 80% correct. Which is 80% correct, because 80% of the sugar which is produced in the world is from sugar cane, right? And 20% of the sugar which is produced in the world, it is made out of something which is known as sugar beet. Sugar, B-E-E-T. So sugar beet, 20%. This type of sugar, you can find it in temperate regions, right? Where they are away from the sun, right? So sugar beet constitutes 20% of sugar production. Don't worry if you don't understand what is the difference between sugar cane and sugar beet. I brought you some figures which will help you understand this. On the left side, you can see sugar beet. So this is like our beetroot or potato or something like that. It is growing, under the soil. Whereas this is sugarcane, you might have seen it, right? So this you will see every single day, sugarcane. And 20% of the sugar in the world is produced from sugar beet, 80% from sugarcane. So how many of you have heard about the sugar beet before? Or are you hearing this for the first time today? Never saw it before? Even I didn't see it because this is not there in India. Right. Next. Yeah. Shahi Beheshti Terminal. So this is in Chahbar Port, right? So where is Chahbar Port? It is in Iran, right? So one terminal of Chahbar Port is being, developed and managed by Indian Ports Global Limited. Now, Indian Ports Global Limited is a government company, right? So do you think government's duty is to do free service, or government can do business also? Government can do business also, right? Though government is not directly involved in the business, they will do the business with the help of government companies, right? So now if you look at SBI, SBI is a public sector bank, right? So why it is a public sector bank? Because more than 50% of the stake is with the government. More than 50% of the ownership is with government of India, right? So that is why it is a public sector bank. Similarly, government runs many companies also, right? So including RTC is also a government company, right? Or yeah, NMDC Steel is also a government company, right? Or ONGC is also a government company. There are many government companies. We call them as, PSUs, public sector undertakings. BHEL here is also a government company. Now here, do you think this is for the first time where Indian government is managing somebody else's port? No, right? We also have secured a contract to manage Sitwe port. Where is Sitwe port? It is in Myanmar, right? So government of India has also got the contract to manage Sitwe port, which is in Myanmar, but that is a very small port. But this is a very strategic location, Chabar port, where we have seen, an increase in the rise of vessels. What are vessels? Vessels are ships, right? So 43% increase is there in the Chabar region of vessels, and even cargo goods which are moving, container ships as well as normal ships which are there. Right. So this is a very important profitable venture for India if India is doing it properly. Next, Dar es Salaam port, which is in Tanzania. This is managed by Adani ports. Right. This also might come in the exam because Adani is also there in the news for the last 1.5 years. Right. So both of them are very, very important questions. Okay. Where is Sitwe port? It is in Myanmar. Where is Chabar port?
Iran.
The Hambantota port. Hambantota port. It is in Sri Lanka, right? So regarding ports and all, you'll find it in the static GK book. All the important ports are given. Next. India's first UNESCO City of Literature. Now, first, what is the full form of UNESCO? UN is United Nations. E is educational.
Scientific Cultural Organization.
Very good. Scientific and cultural organization. In the exam, he can ask the full form also. He asks many times to expand any abbreviation which is given. What is the full form of UNESCO? United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. What is the full form of UNO? United Nations.
United Nations Organization.
Very good. So what is recognized by UNESCO as City of Literature? It is Kozhikode, which is in Kerala. You will be surprised to know that Kozhikode is not the capital of Kerala. It is a city in Kerala, and Kozhikode has over 500 plus running libraries. Right, 500 plus libraries are there, and it is home to many, great poets who are there, in Malayalam, right? So this city is recognized as UNESCO City of Literature by UN. So this can also be a very important question. Next, committee to review examination process. See, over the last 1.5 years, there is a very big, discussion in India regarding malpractices in different entrance exams and competitive exams in India. Especially one controversy which is there is of NEET, right? Now, NEET is an entrance exam to get into different, med schools, into medical schools, medical colleges in India. And recently there are allegations of paper leak, right, and malpractices in the center, in the exam center, right? So because of this, the government has constituted a committee which is headed by former ISRO chairman K. Radhakrishnan. Now, what is the full form of ISRO?
Indian Space
Indian
Research
Space Research
Organization.
Organization.
Very good. Indian Space Research Organization. Now, former chairman of ISRO, which means ex-chairman of ISRO. So, K. Radhakrishnan. So, he is heading this committee to suggest reforms in education. So, how do we conduct the examinations properly? How do we avoid, malpractices in the exam centers? So, that committee was was constituted by the Union Ministry of Education, and it is headed by K. Radhakrishnan, right? Who is the present chairman of ISRO?
Somnath.
Very good. K. Somnath uncle is the present chairman of ISRO, right? So when was ISRO formed?
1969.
Very good. ISRO was formed on 15th August 1969. So who is the founder of ISRO?
Vikram Sarabhai.
Very good. Vikram Ambal Sarabhai. So he is considered as a founder of ISRO. Vikram Sarabhai, he is the founder of ISRO. Present chairman is Somnath, right? So when Somnath was the chairman, we have successfully launched our Chandrayaan 3, right? So at that time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so he was attending which summit during the launch of Chandrayaan 3? Sorry, when Chandrayaan 3 was successfully landed on the south polar region of the moon, do you think Prime Minister Narendra Modi is there in India? No. Where was he?
Is it G7?
No, it's not G7. Where was he? He was in Johannesburg, which is in South Africa, right? So he was in Johannesburg, which is in South Africa. He was attending the BRICS meeting over there, right? So after that, G20 was held in India, whereas BRICS was held in this Johannesburg, which is in South Africa, during the launch of Chandrayaan. He was there. He was sitting there in Johannesburg. Next. Tsunami ready state. What is the meaning of tsunami ready state?
Very high chances of coming tsunami.
Expected, right? But that is not tsunami ready state. Tsunami ready state is a state where the people are trained to tackle tsunami. So when tsunami is coming, how do you get out from the building, right? So where to find the shelter, in which places you have to go, where you should not go, what you should touch and what you should not touch. So when all of this training is given, and when you are ready to face tsunami, you are known as tsunami ready state or tsunami ready country, right? So 24 coastal villages in Odisha, they have been recognized recently as tsunami ready states. So earlier, 2 villages were recognized. Total 26 villages are properly trained in Odisha to tackle tsunami, right? So when tsunami is coming, so whom to approach, whether you have to jump from the building or not, right? So all of this training is given to them, and they are now ready to tackle tsunami. So tsunami ready is not, of course, there are high chances of tsunami in this region. That is why we are training them, right? Next. Mission Basundhara 3.0. Now, what is this Basundhara 3.0. Now, this is a mission which was launched by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma to provide land rights to indigenous people. Now, who are these indigenous people?
Those people who are living far away from local civilization, modern civilization.
No, they are a different group. See, indigenous are somebody who are native to that region. Now, let us say, for example, this is India, sorry, half of India. And let us say I am born in India. So I am indigenous to India, right? Whereas some Donald Trump who is coming from outside, is he indigenous? No. So in our science and technology, we'll discuss about some indigenous missiles. Now, what are indigenous missiles? Indigenous missiles are those missiles which are designed and developed in India, right? Now, similarly, indigenous people of Assam are those people who are born in Assam and they are brought up in Assam for a longer period of time, right? So recently, land rights were given to indigenous people by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma under Mission Basundhara. Next, did I miss out something? I don't think so. Yeah. Gujarat became the first state in India to implement a dedicated semiconductor policy. Now, what is a semiconductor? I think it was discussed in Friday's session. What is a conductor? Yeah. So generally,
that passes electricity through metals.
very good. Right. Not just through metals, it can be anything. Right. Now, for example, do you think water is a conductor of electricity? Yes. When you put
Yes.
electricity in the water, everybody who is there in the water will die. I mean, they'll suffer from electric shock, right? So conductor is something which will allow the flow of electricity, right? If you're putting electricity in a conductor, it will pass, like, for example, water, right? Or any wet substance, or maybe some metal like iron, right? It will conduct the electricity. Now, however, opposite of conductor is known as insulator. Now, what is insulator? Insulator will not allow the flow of electricity. For example, using some rubber slippers, right? So rubber might not allow the flow of electricity, right? So that is why you see, look at the tester whenever you are, testing whether there is electricity or not. What you're putting inside is a metal, but are you touching with the metal? No. Outside there is a rubber. You're touching with the rubber because rubber will not allow the flow of electricity. It is an insulator. It is not a conductor. Now, semiconductor is not a complete conductor. It will not completely allow the flow of electricity. And there are many use cases of semiconductors. Semiconductors are used in a lot of chips. The use case of semiconductor would include, ATMs and computers, right? And in different internet communication devices, in all of these things, we are using semiconductors. And Gujarat became the first state in India. Whenever first is given, this is very important. Gujarat became the first state in India to implement dedicated semiconductor policy. Now, under this policy, Gujarat government is encouraging anybody who is interested in manufacturing semiconductors. If you are manufacturing semiconductors and if you're establishing a manufacturing unit, Gujarat government will not charge any stamp duty, no statutory fees, right? If you want to set up a manufacturing unit, 1,000 licenses you have to get from the government of India and the local government. So all of these things are waived off by the Gujarat government. You don't have to get anything, right? And if you're really establishing a proper manufacturing unit for semiconductors, Gujarat government is ready to invest 40% of capital expenditure. Like if you want to invest in machine and machine is costing some 100 crore, Gujarat government will help you in giving some, 40 crores in it, right? So what is the first state in India to implement a dedicated semiconductor policy? It is Gujarat. Very, very important question. Ganga Utsav, celebrated in Haridwar, you already know. And they can also ask a question about Kumbh Mela. So where is it happening? Where is Mahakumbh happening? It is in
Prayagraj.
Prayagraj. So the region where this Mahakumbh is happening, it was declared as a temporary district. Right. So the region where the Mahakumbh is happening, that particular region was declared by the government of Uttar Pradesh as a temporary district. They have appointed one temporary district collector and temporary, SP and other things. Right. So that is also a very important question from exam point of view. Next. Yeah. Ustad Alauddin Khan Festival. This is there in Madhya Pradesh. So as this is a state news, this is not very important. So generally, state related news won't come in the exam unless it is a state news of national importance. Like for example, Gujarat became the first state in India to implement a semiconductor policy. It is first in India. It is not a state related news, but some small festival which is happening in states, it is not very, very important. Next, first state to implement Dalit subquota. Sorry. This is not important. So you can completely throw it out, not an issue. Next, first state to implement Dalit subquota. This is very, very important. Now, Haryana is actually not the first state to implement subquota within the Dalit community. But you know what is the first state to subcategorize within the SC? What is the meaning of SC? Scheduled caste.
Scheduled caste.
Now here, people who belong to the scheduled caste, so they were suppressed, oppressed, and discriminated by the people of other castes, over the last, thousands of years. Now, after independence and after the commencement of constitution, some reservation was given to the people of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and, also to OBC, EWS, and multiple other things. Right. Now, within scheduled caste, there are subcategories. Right. Now, if you see in Telangana, within the scheduled caste, there are Madigas, there are Malas. Who are there? Mudagar. Budaga. Yeah, there are Budaga and multiple communities. Now, if you go deeper into a particular scheduled caste, like let us say, for example, there are Madigas and Malas. According to the reports, Malas are more, powerful or not powerful. They are more wealthier and they are a little forward than Madigas, right? As a result, what the government is trying to do, government is trying to take away some of the reservation which is given to the Malas, right? So why reservation is given to the people of the scheduled caste? It is to uplift them. Now, within the caste, there are certain people who are already forward. So we have to, according to the government, they have to remove the reservation to them and give it to somebody who is more backward. So that is why they started implementing, they started subcategorizing within the SC community. So the first state to actually subcategorize SCs was Punjab. So Punjab is the first state to do SC subcategorization. So 25% reservation is given to SCs in Punjab, right? So there are certain sections within the SC community of Punjab. For example, Balmikis and Majhabi Sikhs. Balmikis and Majhabi Sikhs. So these people are, the backward community within the SC class, right? Now, what the government tried to do, they tried to give more reservation to Balmikis and Majhabi Sikhs, and others they categorize as other scheduled castes, and they are getting very less reservation. Now, this was challenged in the Punjab and Haryana High Court, and later it was challenged in the Supreme Court also, right? Supreme Court, they went to the Supreme Court, and this particular, thing which was there, this was upheld by the Supreme Court. Then what happened? The second state to subcategorize SCs was Andhra Pradesh. First one is Punjab and second one is Andhra Pradesh. What Andhra Pradesh government did, they also divided, they conducted one survey, and in 2000 or somewhere around that, they categorized certain people within the SC community as more backward, some of them as forward, and they tried to subcategorize within the SC community. Now what happened, the reservation which was given by Andhra Pradesh state government, it was challenged in the Supreme Court in E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. In E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. Now this particular reservation which was given by Andhra Pradesh state government, it was challenged in E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. Now when it was challenged in E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, Supreme Court said that you cannot subcategorize within SCs. You should not do subcategorization. Why reservation is given to SC community? Because they are backward. Now, within the backwardness, you should not, cut short reservation to some community. That is what Supreme Court said in E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. So after the judgment of the Supreme Court in E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, they have to stop this reservation. Now, recently, again, Punjab's reservation was challenged in the Supreme Court very recently in 2024 in a case which is known as Davinder Singh versus state of Punjab. Sorry, state of Punjab versus Davinder Singh. State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh. So this is a case which was, the judgment was given very recently in the year 2024 when Chandrachud was the Chief Justice. And according to the judgment of the Supreme Court, in the state of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, subcategorization within the SCs is allowed. It is a very recent judgment of the Supreme Court. There is very high probability of this question being asked in the exam. In both TG and AP law sets, they can ask this question, right? Very, very important question. As of today, Supreme Court says that you can actually subcategorize within the SCs. However, earlier Supreme Court said this is not allowed. In which case Supreme Court said it is not allowed? E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. In E.V. Chinnaya case, it was not allowed. Whereas in state of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, it is allowed. Very, very important. And what Haryana did recently, they subclassified SCs into deprived scheduled castes and scheduled castes. Now, deprived scheduled castes are somebody who are more backward, right? So deprived scheduled castes are somebody who are more backward, whereas scheduled castes are normal scheduled caste people. Now, who is getting more reservation here? Who is getting more reservation?
Deprived scheduled caste.
Deprived scheduled caste people are getting more reservation because the government of Haryana feels that they are more backward, right? Very, very important question, right? This entire background is important. They can ask about E.V. Chinnaya case in the legal aptitude section. They can also ask about state of Punjab versus Davinder Singh. They can also ask who is the first state to implement subcategorization within SCs. It is the state of Punjab. People who are reading the newspaper only today, and if they feel that Haryana has implemented, they'll feel that Haryana is the first state to do it. No, it is Punjab, second it is Andhra Pradesh, and third attempt was made by Haryana. Very, very important.
Like in the state of and the state of Punjab and
No, it is very important because E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, it means that case is filed by E.V. Chinnaya against the state of Andhra Pradesh. If you are Chinnaya, you are filing a case. You are filing a case against the state of Andhra Pradesh, then it becomes E.V. Chinnaya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. Now, in this case, what happened? State of Punjab filed a case against Davinder Singh, which means that this is an appeal. Now, first, this case went to Punjab and Haryana High Court. Davinder Singh, who is a person who does not belong to the Balmiki community, he was not given more reservation. So he went and he filed a case in Punjab and Haryana High Court. Now he filed a case against whom? Against the state of Punjab. Now the case title is Davinder Singh versus state of Punjab. Now High Court, did not give him a favorable order. What he did, the High Court gave him a favorable order, but it was against the state of Punjab. Right. Now what the state of Punjab did, they went and filed a case in the Supreme Court. So first name is always given to the person who is filing the case. So that is why it is very important. You cannot write Davinder, you may say Davinder Singh case, but you cannot say Davinder Singh versus state of Punjab. It has to be state of Punjab versus Davinder Singh. Right. So every single technical point is very important. Now, world's first breeding center. So this is a breeding center of vultures. What are vultures? So you might
Species
have...
of
Yes, you're right. Scavenger of what? Yes, somebody was right here. Okay,
species
never
of bird.
mind.
Species of bird, sir.
See, there are some animals, like, for example, vulture or a hyena. So what they'll do, they will, eat the dead animals, right? So that is why they are known as who is a scavenger? Scavenger is somebody who cleans, right? Now, what these hyenas and vultures are doing, they are eating the deceased animals. So diseased is not diseased, dead animals, right? So in a way, what they're doing, they are cleaning the environment, right? So recently, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, he inaugurated the Jatayu Conservation and Breeding Center in Gorakhpur Forest Division. Right. So the vultures are something like this. They have a red face or red beak. Recently, it was inaugurated by UP CM Yogi Adityanath. He's also taking a selfie with these vultures. Very good. Right. So this is very important. They can ask it in the exam. Next. Very, very important question. Mankidia community. See, in India, there are many tribal groups which are there. So how many ST groups are there how many scheduled tribes are there in India? Can anyone take a guess? There are around 750 plus scheduled tribes in India, right? Now, Mankidia community is also one such group from which Indian state? It is from Odisha, right? Now, recently, habitat rights were given to Mankidia community under the legal sanction of ST and other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act. Now, first, we have to understand what is the meaning of habitat rights. Now, what is the meaning of habitat? Yeah, so
Place,
yes.
area where they live.
No, habitat is actually area and your living condition. Now, let us say, for example, we are all living in a particular habitat. So we live in houses. We don't sleep on the trees, right? But you look at birds, where do they sleep? They might sleep in the
Civilization.
or on their nest, right? So habitat rights are rights which are given to these kind of indigenous people or tribal people, where they are actually living in a particular way. They might not live in houses. They might live in forest. They might not get the food, store it and eat. They might do hunting and gathering all the time. So they are nomadic people, which means they are moving all the time. They're not staying in one place. So there is a different habitat of them. Humans have a different habitat. We live in a house. We want to sleep on the bed, right? So like a dog, we cannot sleep anywhere on the road, right? Like, or maybe like some buffalo, we cannot sleep anywhere, right? Or look at a pig. Pig has a different habitat. Pig will simply, enjoy the drainage, but we want to stay away from the drainage. So everybody has a different habitat. Now, similarly, certain habitat is there for this group, which is known as PVTG. What is the full form of PVTG? PVTG is particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Very, very important. particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Now, what is the meaning of vulnerable? So vulnerable is something that is easily affected, right? So now let us say, for example, children and women, they are more vulnerable to COVID-19. Children, they might be easily affected by COVID-19, right? So vulnerable is they are easily affected, right? So particularly vulnerable tribal groups, these are, these are the groups which are not there with the normal civilization. They are not living like normal human beings. They are still living in the forest. If they come out, they might be attacked by people, or they might attack people also, right? So now this is very, very important. Out of this 705, 700 plus, let us take 705 plus, tribal groups. Out of this, 75 are PVTGs. 75 groups are particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Total 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups are there in India, right? So out of that, one such group is this Mankidia community, which is there in which Indian state? It is there in Odisha. These particularly vulnerable tribal groups, they are present across 18 states and one union territory in India, in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Recently, according to a report, Chief Electoral Officer of Andaman and Nicobar Islands made a statement that some people from particularly vulnerable tribal groups, they came out and they took part in the election, right? So the government is giving them a lot of schemes to integrate them, to mix them into the general public, but they want to, stay there. Some of them, they want to move and they have their own thing. But recently we have seen one good sign in Andaman and Nicobar Islands where they came out and casted their vote. Now, special schemes are given by the government of India and government of different states for the, people who belong to this particularly vulnerable tribal groups. And they can ask one more question in the exam. Which state has highest number of PVTGs? Very good. It is Odisha. They have almost more than 2.5 lakh plus population, which is related to this particularly vulnerable tribal groups, right? This is very, very important. And as of today, with this Mankidia community becomes the fourth community to get habitat rights. Before this in India, certain, PVTGs were given habitat rights. I'm just writing it over here. First is the Bharia PVTGs, right? So Bharias, they belong to Madhya Pradesh. And then there are some more communities, like there is Kamar and there is Baiga. And recently another one which is given this status is Mankidia community. So do you know what language is spoken by the people of Mankidia community? They speak a form of Munda language. Munda. They speak a form of Munda language. Whereas some of them, they can speak Odia also. So Odia is a language which is there in Odisha. Some of them are conversant in Odia, but whereas most of them, they speak a form of Munda language, right? So this is again very, very important. Next. International Conference on Green Hydrogen, right? Now, what is the meaning of green hydrogen and what is the color of green hydrogen? No, you can very easily guess it from here. What is the color of green hydrogen? Green, right?
Green.
So they'll ask the same question in the exam. But green hydrogen, you will be surprised to know that it is colorless, it is odorless, which means there is no smell, it is tasteless, right? So you cannot touch and feel it, there is no color to it, right? So what is hydrogen? Is hydrogen something which we can produce in the factory? No, it is a naturally available element. Now, let us say I'm drinking water. There is hydrogen in this. Is it there or not? What is the formula of water? H2O.
H2O.
H2O, which means there are two hydrogens and there is one oxygen in it. So inside there is hydrogen, but I cannot see it, right? So this green hydrogen is something which is orderless. Order is not order. Order is smell. So there's no smell. There's no taste. There is no color. So in the exam, if they ask the question, you have to click none of the above or maybe no color. It is not green in color. People who are not attending the classes, they'll definitely mark it as green if they're reading it for the first time, right? Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he inaugurated second international conference on green hydrogen in New Delhi. Now, green hydrogen is very, very important because this is, a form of energy which you can use and it will not emit any pollutants, right? So green hydrogen, you can make oil out of it. Now you look at other oils, like what are the other oils which we use? Like for example, petrol. Now, if you're using petrol, do you think petrol will emit any smoke? Absolutely, yes. A lot of pollutants are released by petrol, but green hydrogen will not give anything, right? So green hydrogen will not release any pollutants. No greenhouse gases will be produced by this green hydrogen. But you know what is the problem? This green hydrogen will release only one thing into the air, which is not a problem actually. What is that? Green hydrogen. When let us say I'm running a car with the help of green hydrogen, or maybe I'm releasing green hydrogen, it will release only one thing. What is that? No. It is not an animal to release carbon. It's the same thing is done by other gases. No? So how is it different? So it releases only one thing, which is water vapor. Right. What is water vapor? So water turning into gaseous form. Right. So it will only release water vapor. Nothing is going to happen if we are releasing water vapor into the air. Right. But the problem is that to produce green hydrogen, it is not easy like taking solar energy. Now people are feeling that solar energy is also very costly because you have to put the solar panel on it, right? And you have to maintain. People are feeling that that is very costly. But green hydrogen, it is more costlier than solar energy, right? So how do you extract green hydrogen? So you will conduct a process which is known as water electrolysis. By using this process, what you will do, you will remove the hydrogen from there and you'll from the water, and you will create green hydrogen. But the problem is that you need a lot of water for it, and it is very costly. There are 3-4 methods in which you can extract green hydrogen. All of them are very costly, right? Yeah. But you cannot actually take up the entire, ocean water. That is not, and it has a lot of salt, and it will further, make the process very hard. See, with normal water, if you want to remove, it is hard. You take ocean water, there are many impurities in that. So it will be very difficult. Next. Gross environmental product index. Now you might have studied about GDP in your smaller classes. What is GDP?
Gross domestic product.
Now, what is gross domestic product?
The final value of goods and services produced in a country within a year.
Yeah. So gross domestic is within the country, right? So gross domestic product is the value of the goods and services which are produced within that country in a particular year. Now, gross environmental product index, what is it trying to do? It is trying to make various environment related natural resources into products. Now, whenever you are producing a product, it will always have a value. Now, let us say, for example, you are going out and you are, let us say, purchasing one laptop. Do you think the shopkeeper will give it to you for free? Absolutely not. The product has a value. Even services will have a value. Let us say you want to watch movie in some theater. Do you think that fellow will allow you inside without the ticket? Absolutely not. So every product and service has a value. Recently, Uttarakhand became the first state in India to assign monetary values to natural resources, like air 1 lakh rupees per, maybe some per liter, water some 2 lakh rupees per liter. So they have assigned monetary value to natural resources so that people should not waste a lot of natural resources. See, because when something is available for free, everybody will waste it like anything. But you will not simply throw 1 lakh rupees, unless you are an Instagram influencer who wants to throw a lot of money. Otherwise, you will not do it, right? Unless you want to showcase, throw a lot of money, throw it out in the water, bring 1,000 people, throw money on them. So unless you are such type of influencer, you will not do it, right? So when you are assigning monetary value to natural resources, you'll try not wasting it, right? So that is done by Uttarakhand. They can ask this question in the exam, which is very important again. Next. Yeah. Fourth Indian city to receive World Craft City certificate. What is craft? Yeah. So crafts are some handmade goods. Like, for example, somebody is making a kind of toy using a hand, which is a craft. Some design is made, which is placed on the wall, which is also a craft, right? So World Craft City certificate, the fourth Indian city to receive World Craft City certificate is Srinagar. What is Srinagar? Srinagar is the capital of Jammu and Kashmir, right? Now, do you think Srinagar is in a state or union territory? Jammu and Kashmir is a union territory. How many states are there in India? 20? Okay.
28.
9 states. Absolutely. How many union territories are there?
8.
Mm-hmm.
8.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What are they?
I don't know.
Andaman and Nicobar,
Yes, yes.
Andaman and Nicobar,
Hmm.
Pondicherry,
Hmm.
Lakshadweep,
Hmm.
Delhi,
Okay. Listen to me very carefully. I will give you a map, and with the help of this map, you will be able to remember all the, sorry. Unfortunately, I did not study BPC. So let us suppose for a moment that this is a map of India, right? Let us come from the top. In the top, there are 2 union territories, Ladakh, and here we have Jammu and Kashmir. Second one is J and K. Come a little down, you have Chandigarh. Now, what is Chandigarh? It is a common capital for both Punjab and Haryana. And come a little down from Chandigarh, you have Delhi. Now in the north, how many union territories are there? 4 union territories. Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Chandigarh, and Delhi. Now come to the western part of India, 5th union territory, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. Earlier, the name is very big, but the territory is very small. Earlier, there were 2 separate union territories. Now in 2019, they merged both of them, right? Now, 4 in the north, Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Chandigarh and Delhi. 1 in the west, which is Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. And 1 in the south, which is Puducherry. Yeah. One in the south, which is Puducherry. No, Puducherry comprises of 4 territories: Puducherry, Karaikal, Mahe, and Yanam. So Yanam is a part of Puducherry. It is not a union territory altogether. Puducherry is geographically present in 3 Indian states: Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. Politically, it is in Tamil Nadu. Geographically, it is present in 3 Indian states: Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. Yanam is in Andhra Pradesh, right? Seventh one is Puducherry, and here, sorry, sixth is Puducherry, and seventh you have Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Eight, you have Lakshadweep. Now, two in the water, Andaman and Nicobar to the eastern part of India, and Lakshadweep on the western part of India in the water, right? Then, where is Andaman and Nicobar Island? It is in Bay of Bengal. Where is Lakshadweep?
Arabian Sea.
Yeah. Now, two are there in water, four in the north, one in the west, and one in the south, right? So, very simple. You have Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Chandigarh, and Delhi. Then come to the left, you have Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. Then come down, you have Puducherry. Go into the water, you will find Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep. So this you have to remember, because even today I've seen students answering 7, 9, 6 different numbers. So this you have to remember. Along with this, basic state capitals also you have to remember. They might ask in the exam, right? So tomorrow I'll ask, I will ask some questions related to state capitals and union territories. So you have to prepare and come tomorrow. Next. Yeah, which Indian city received a certificate of World Crafts from World Crafts Council? It is for Srinagar. And previously, 3 cities were given: Jaipur, Mallapuram, which is Mahabalipuram, and then you have Mysore. Right? These 3 cities also received World Craft City certificate. Next. Yeah. With this, we are done with national news. Now we'll go to international news. Very important. China has inaugurated its first atmospheric monitoring station, which is known as Zhongshan Station in Antarctica. Where is Antarctica? It is
South
in the
Pole.
South Pole. Now, where is this atmospheric monitoring station placed? It is in the South Polar region of the Earth, right? Now, what is the purpose of this atmospheric monitoring station? So, atmospheric monitoring station will give you various atmosphere related data. Like, for example, AQI. What is AQI? Air Quality Index. Air Quality Index. It will also give you information related to atmospheric pressure, right? And multiple other things, data will be given by atmospheric monitoring station, right? So you might have seen on your phone or laptop, sometimes you'll find the data related to AQI, right? Air Quality Index. So that is calculated at atmospheric monitoring stations. There are many such stations in India. Now, China inaugurated such station in Antarctica. Next. They can ask a question in the exam. Which country has inaugurated its first atmospheric monitoring station in Antarctica? What is the answer? It is China. Next. Oxford University Press has announced brain rot as Oxford Word of the Year for 2024. Can somebody tell me what is brain rot? You might not know, but you might be suffering from it. Online students,
Brain rotting is if you're using too much social media and memes, etc. They affect your brain.
No, not depression. So brain rotting is careless consumption of content on social media. Now, what will happen? Some fellow, let us say, for example, you're studying at home, right? You're studying at home, and after studying for 1 hour, you wanted to take a break of 5 minutes. Now, in the break, what you'll do, you'll open your phone, right? Where's my phone? Yeah, you'll open your phone. Now, first, what you'll open Instagram, and then you'll start. First, you'll open some reel comes into your feed. Then you'll start scrolling, and it is already 8 o'clock in the evening, right? So many people are suffering from this particular problem. They are unable to control their mind and consuming a lot of cheap content on social media, right? So some random fellow is telling some story, somebody is playing Subway Surfer, somebody is playing something, some meme you are watching, right? Or you're doing this thing. As a result, you're suffering from very severe problems, right? So that is known as brain rot. Countless or careless consumption of social media content, right? So Oxford University has announced this particular thing as Oxford Word of the Year for 2024. Now, how Oxford is announcing Word of the Year? So they will give certain words to some 4 lakh people and they'll ask them to vote. Whoever is giving the highest number of words, so they will declare it as Word of the Year. Next, 31st Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, that is APEC. It was held in Lima, which is in Peru. Not very important. Next, the United States has returned more than 1,400 looted artifacts. So artifacts are many art forms, many antique material which is there, worth $10 million to India. So there are many toys, right? Many sculptures which are there. They were looted earlier and recently they were returned back, right? This is also not very important, but this fellow has added it over here. Next, Gabon, which is a country in Africa, approved a new constitution in a referendum. Now, this can be a very important question in the exam. Which African country recently approved a new constitution? It is Gabon. Now, what is the meaning of referendum?
Conducting elections.
Conducting?
Elections.
Okay, now recently in March and April 2024, elections were held in here. Can you call them as referendum? No. See, referendum, plebiscite, or recall. So these are the tools which are there in direct democracy. Direct democracy. How many are from CEC? People like Krishna and others. So have you studied about, what's your name? Sanjay. Yeah, Sanjay, did you learn about direct democracy in political science? Okay, what is the difference between direct and indirect democracy? It is not there in important question. It must be a 2-marker or something. Is it not? I don't know.
Democracy power is not directly in the hands of people. They are indirectly divided in the hands of people.
No, but how is that? That is indirect democracy, no? I am asking what is direct democracy? So in a direct, do you think India is a democracy? First, what is the meaning of democracy?
Right to vote. The people have the power.
No. Yeah, people have the power is somewhere closer. What is the meaning of democracy?
Rule of law. Everyone is equal in the eyes of the law.
That is rule of law. Everybody is equal in the eye of the law is rule of law. That is equality before that. It's not democracy.
Head of state is selected by people.
That is republic. When head of state is elected, you call the state as republic. It is not democracy.
Representatives are elected by the people of territory.
Yeah, you're somewhere closer. The word democracy is derived from a word demos. Demos is people. Right. So democracy is a government of the people. Right. So people are actually ruling the state. Right. Now, when I say monarchy, mono is single. Right. So mono is single. So monopoly, when I say monopoly, it means that there is only single player in the market. Like, for example, Indian Railways has monopoly. Monarch is not a dictator. Many people, they'll say that monarch is a dictator. No, absolutely wrong. Monarch is not a dictator. Monarch means that there is only one king. So one king might not always be a dictator, because we'll talk about King John of England in our fundamental rights chapter. In 1215 AD, he issued something which is known as Magna Carta, right? Though he was a monarch, he tried to do something good for the people, right? So don't be under the impression that monarchy is equal to dictatorship. No, right? Now, monarchy is one fellow ruling. Diarchy is two people ruling, right? So democracy is people ruling it. Now, democracy is further divided into two parts: direct democracy and indirect democracy. Now, India is following direct democracy or indirect democracy? Indirect. Are
Indirect
we
democracy.
No. India is not ruled actually. It is governed, right? It is governed by the law, and where we have our elected representatives. Now, are we making the law? Now, recently, new criminal laws were made. Did I go to the parliament and make it, or did you go to the parliament and make it? No. It is made by the MPs who are sitting in the parliament. Now, what are we doing in indirect democracy? Indirect democracy, somebody is doing the work on our behalf. They are our MPs or MLAs, right? Whereas in direct democracy, people are participating in the lawmaking process. Now, let us say I want to introduce a new law. In a direct democracy, what I will do, I will give them, I'll ask them to give their opinion. I'll conduct a referendum wherein I'll tell that whether this law is acceptable to you or not. Everybody says yes, okay, we will make the law. If they say no, we will not do it, right? Yes, only for a particular law. Not referendum is not election. Referendum is not election. Referendum, now let us say, for example, if I have a problem, I will refer it. Referendum meaning is I will refer it to the people. In India, we don't have referendum. No, how can you use it? Now let us say, for example, I want to make Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now, to conduct referendum, what I have to essentially conduct an election. No, direct democracy is there in very small countries like Switzerland and all. It is practically impossible for any country to follow direct democracy. Now, let us take a hypothetical case. How many laws are made in India every year? Hundreds of laws are made. Now, if I want to give referendum 100 times I have to conduct election. If I'm conducting election 100 times, when will I govern the country? Entire time is gone in that. So that is why we have elected representatives to do that work. Right. So this is very important. So here, Gabon, which is a very small country, that is why they used a referendum. They wanted to make a new law. They want to make a new constitution. So what they did, they gave it to the people of Gabon that, dear people, please tell me whether it is okay or not for you. They said, okay, and we have adapted the constitution. Right. You cannot call it as a referendum exactly, because whenever you are giving a referendum, everybody should be given an opportunity to participate. No opportunity was given. I don't even know what is that. Right. So now, to you, opportunity was given to do something in the Dharni portal. Sai. No. That cannot happen, right? See, everybody are people. So you have to give opportunity to everybody. So referendum is possible only in small countries, not in big countries like India. So in direct democracy, there are many tools like, for example, referendum or plebiscite or recall. Recall is the most powerful tool in direct democracy. If you don't like a government, you will recall them, which means you'll call them back. You will throw out the elected government. But in India, do you think it is possible? No, it should be done by the Lok Sabha or by the assemblies in the state. Ordinary people, can they recall the government? Can they throw the government? No. Technically and practically, it is not possible. Very, very important. So recently, which country has approved a new constitution in referendum? It is Gabon.
Gabon.
Is referendum a tool in direct democracy or indirect democracy?
Direct democracy.
Do you think it is possible in bigger countries with huge population to follow direct democracy? No. Right. Very, very important. Very, very important country, which is known as Suriname. This Suriname is actually a country to which India recently sent 425 metric tons of food grains. This is a country in South America. And you will be surprised to know that 1/3 population of this South American country are Indians. 1/3 population of this Suriname country, they are Indians. How these fellows went to some South America, if they are in England or USA, we can feel that okay, but how these fellows went to South America? And 1/3 is not a small number. Many people from Bihar, UP, Jharkhand, from these states, they are 1/3 population. Even the present president of Suriname is an Indian origin. He's not an Indian, but he's a person of Indian origin. So what happened is that when Britishers were ruling, when they were colonizing, these countries, they tried to take away some of these people. South American country, where there is a lot of sugarcane production, right? Now, what Britishers, these Britishers, what they did, they told to our Indian people that, see, dear Indian people of especially UP, Bihar, and those states, we will take you to a place, we will give you the work. There you have to do the work for 5 years. I'll pay you very handsome salary. And after finishing the payment, we will send you back to India. Right. This was the agreement they told to the laborers who are there. Those people who are greedy for money, they said, okay, let's go. They took them to South America. Now in South America, they were used as slaves. They were engaged in sugarcane, factories, or sugarcane cultivation and other things. They were used as slaves, and some, I think maybe less than 10% people came back to India. Remaining people, they were, enslaved in this Suriname, and they are still living in Suriname, and now they are complete citizens of Suriname. Yeah, and not even 10%. I'm just, I'm just giving you that it is 10%, but there very, very less people came out from there, right? Very less people, they came out from here. And this is very important question. And they can also ask who is the present president of Suriname. It is Chandrika Prasad. Chandrika Prasad Santokhi. He is a president of Suriname, right? Very important country, and this is a country where you will find 1/3 of the people belonging to Indian origin, and including the president, right? Recently, in which state here is country, in which country one person of Indian origin contested as the president? Recently, in which country one person belonging to Indian origin contested as president?
Suriname.
No. So he is not. He contested and he won also. This is not recent.
Sir, Kamala Harris.
Very good. No. Kamala Harris is not the right answer. USA is the right answer. No, UK, there is no president. There is prime minister. Yeah. So here, USA is a state where one person of Indian origin tried to contested as a president of the US, but somehow she was largely unsuccessful, which is a different thing altogether, right? So this Suriname is a very important country. How many of you have heard of Suriname before? No, first time. But this is a very important country for India, because 1/3 of the people are Hindus and 1/3 of the people are Indians in this particular state.
Sir, one doubt.
Yes.
Sir, what is the value of 1 metric ton?
1 metric ton. I think it has to be some number. I don't. Let me just check. So 1 metric ton might be somewhere similar to a ton. Not really sure, but let me just check. One ton has to be 1 ton only. That is 1 kilogram. So it is 22046 pounds. So when it is in pound, if you are taking half of it, it is almost, I think, 1,000 kilograms only. It's same like a ton. Okay. Next. Very, very important question. The Israel government has approved a US and France brokered ceasefire deal with Hezbollah in Lebanon. First, what is the meaning of ceasefire? Yeah, no, to stop the fire. Now, how fire is coming? With the help of weapons, right? So, yeah, it might be a war. Now, here, ceasefire is to cease, that is to stop the, usage of arms and ammunitions. Now, who has brokered? It is brokered by US and France to stop this particular, fight which is going on with Lebanon with Hezbollah by Israel and Lebanon. So this Hezbollah, it is a very dangerous militant outfit. Recently, the chief of Hezbollah, he died. What is his name? Online, can you take a guess? Hassan Nasrallah. This is a very important question in the exam and they'll ask it. Hassan Nasrallah, he was a chief of Hezbollah, right, which is a militant outfit in Lebanon. He was killed recently very recently in Syria, right? So this is a very, very important question. Next. Japan issued new banknotes with holographic technology as a measure to reduce counterfeiting and fraud. Now, counterfeiting is producing fake currencies, right? Now, what is the meaning of holographic technology?
Plastic, using the plastic.
Yeah, holographic technology is actually a 3D printing technology, right? And it is very difficult for ordinary people to counterfeit this thing. When it is a 2D printing, they will do it with ordinary Xerox machine also. But when it is a hologram, it will be very difficult for them to duplicate it, right? So recently, this was done by whom? This was done by Japan. Very important question. Next. IIT Delhi opened its first international campus in Abu Dhabi. This is also a very important question. What is the full form of IIT? Indian Institute of
Indian Institute of Technology.
Yeah. Next, very, very important topic is ASEAN Summit. What is the full form of ASEAN? Just I'm writing it over here. Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Now, is India a Southeast Asian country?
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, sir.
No. I'm not asking whether it is a part of ASEAN. ASEAN is a group of Southeast Asian countries. My question is very simple as to whether India is in the Southeast Asian part of the world. No. India is a South Asian country. It is not Southeast Asian country. The countries which are there to the east of India are Southeast Asian countries, right? Now, recently, ASEAN Summit was held in which country? It was held in Laos, the capital of Laos, which is Vientiane. So here it was held very recently, and ASEAN 2025 will be held in Malaysia. Where is the headquarters of ASEAN? Headquarters of ASEAN is in Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia. Headquarters of ASEAN is in Indonesia, Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia. Now, how many countries are there? What are all these ASEAN countries, right? So this is also a very important question. And in the exam, he will give you some countries names like, A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which amongst the following is not an Asian country, right? Now, just take down the names of all the Asian countries which are there. First, you have Brunei Darussalam. This is one Asian country. And then Cambodia. and then Indonesia, and then our recent host, that is Laos, and then next host, that is Malaysia. Sixth, you have our neighboring country, Myanmar. Seventh, we have Philippines. Seventh, we have Philippines. Eighth, we have Singapore. Nine, we have your favorite country, Thailand. And 10 is Vietnam. First one is Brunei. Brunei, Brunei Darussalam. Daru and Salam. Darussalam. Brunei Darussalam. So total 10 countries are there in Asian, and you can easily remember this thing if you read it twice. Right. So this is very important. Did you take this down? I think it's a yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Next.
Sir, what is the motive of this Asian summit?
Yeah, so Asian Summit is a group where all the Asian countries want to come together. It is more of a socio-economic and cultural meeting. So there's nothing like it's not a defense deal or something. It is more of a socio-economic meeting. So they'll come together, they'll try to discuss and exchange ideas. So it is just it's not a very powerful summit, I have to say. Right? Next.
So what about East Timor or something? I'm not sure. What about East Timor nation?
It is not an Asian country. Only 10 countries are there in Asia.
Okay.
Yeah. Next, East Asia Summit. This is not very important as Asian, but Asian is very important. So East Asia country, here it is not only Asian, is of Southeast Asian country. Like for example, a country like China, do you think China is there in the Southeast Asian part? No. China is a East Asian country, but it is not Southeast Asian country. Now in East Asia Summit, we have the 10 Asian members: Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Philippines, all of the Myanmar and all of these countries, and 8 dialogue partners. So dialogue partners are the ones who are coming for the discussion. Who are they? You have Australia, China, India, Japan, New Zealand, Korea. So Republic of Korea is South Korea, not North Korea. North Korea is not a republic country. Why it is not republic country? What is a republic state?
Dictatorship.
Uh-huh.
Sir, in North Korea, there is dictatorship.
So what?
Republic means the power in the people's hand, and they have the democracy and rights.
No, not necessarily. Republic has a very specific definition. A country or a state is said to be republic where the head of state is elected. Not necessarily, right? Where the head of state is elected. Now, for election to happen, you don't need a constitution. King can only come and say, choose whether do you want me or not. That is also an election, right? So republic is a form of government where the head of state is elected. Democracy is a form of government where people are ruling. It might be direct or indirect, right? So don't confuse yourself with democracy and republic. Do you think UK or Britain is a republic? It is not a republic. It is a democratic state. There are elections, there is prime minister, but it is not a republic state because who is the head of Britain? Who is the head of the UK?
Monarch.
Right.
Monarch.
So this king, is he elected? No. King or queen is not elected. He's coming on a hereditary basis. That is why Britain is a democratic state, but not a republic state. India is a democratic as well as republic state. right? So here you have to understand these two things. Democracy is related to people. Republic is related to head of the state, right? So in law, there is a term, in Latin, there is a term which is known as rex. Rex is king. Republic is coming from there, RE. So RE here is related to king. Democracy, demos are people, right? So democracy, in democracy, we are essentially figuring out as to whether people have the power or not. In republic, we are figuring out as to whether the king is elected or not. Very simple. Okay. Next. BRICS, which is also very important, right? Now, recently, BRICS summit was held in which place? In Kazan, which is in Russia, from 22nd to 24th October. Dates are not very important, but just remember that it was held in Russia. Now, where was the first BRICS? What is the full form of BRICS? Brazil, Russia,
Russia,
and
India, China, and South Africa.
South Africa. Now, first, when it was formed, it was not BRICS. It was just BRIC, B-R-I-C, BRIC. And who gave this term BRIC? So it is not a grouping where 4 countries have come together and they said we are BRIC. No. It is given by the former chairman of Goldman Sachs. His name is Jim O'Neill. Jim O'Neill. This fellow he wrote an article in some magazine, I don't remember exactly, wherein he told that, see, there are 4 countries in the world: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. This group will be an emerging group, emerging economies. These countries are emerging economies. In the future, they will emerge as the top economies in the world. So this term was coined by Jim O'Neill somewhere in 2001 or something, right? So after he wrote this article in 2009, first time the people of BRIC, the leaders of BRIC came together and they formed this grouping. First summit was held in the year 2009 in Yekaterinburg, which is in Russia. First summit was held in Yekaterinburg, which is in Russia, right? So recently it was held in Kazan, which is also in Russia, right? Very, very important. Now, yes, we'll talk about that. Now, you know what is the purpose of forming BRICS? Sorry, now South Africa is there, other countries are also there. These countries were added very recently. Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and UAE, they joined this year only. No,
To
Saudi
reducing
not joined. Argentina has also not. So first they said we will join, but somehow they did not, come here. Now, what is the purpose of creating this BRICS?
Against USA?
Sorry?
Against US,
to reduce the dominance of NATO and other
No. See,
Europe organizations.
NATO is a military and defense related pact. It's BRICS.
UNO.
against USA, sir.
Not excessive. Why everybody is
No.
yes.
Dominance of European countries on the Asian countries
Yes, you're somewhere
i-
closer actually.
in the form of trade and exports.
To reduce, to counter 2 important global organizations, World Bank and IMF. World Bank and IMF. To counter World Bank and IMF, BRICS countries, they have started their own type of World Bank, which is known as New Development Bank. New Development Bank, BRICS New Development Bank. And to counter IMF, they formed something which is known as Contingency Reserve Arrangement. Contingency Reserve Arrangement. Now, what is the difference between World Bank and IMF? What is the full form of IMF first?
In
International.
International Monetary Fund.
Okay, how are these two different?
The IMF and World Bank is controlled by UNO and mainly America, whereas these BRICS organizations are in the control of BRICS organizations.
That I got it. My question is not that. My question is the difference between World Bank and IMF. No, it's not like that. See, both World Bank and IMF, they will give loans to different countries. But the purpose is different over here, right? That is point number one. Point number two is World Bank is controlled by the USA. I mean, USA is a dominant player who will control the World Bank. Whereas IMF is controlled by the European Union, EU, right? So there are some 27 countries in the European Union, and they will control the IMF. Now, World Bank will give you loan. It will give loans to the countries for what? For development and infrastructure projects. Now, I want to construct a very big road in India. They will give the loan to me. IMF will give loans to the countries when they are in contingency, which means when they are in emergency. Now, recently, Sri Lanka was facing a severe balance of payment crisis 1 or 2 years back. They went to IMF and IMF gave them the loan, right? So IMF will help you when there is an emergency. Sorry? Yeah, even to India upon many useless conditions. We'll talk about that story as well. Now, just remember IMF as an ICU, where during emergency, they'll give you the money, right? And World Bank is for development and infrastructure project. In 1991, when India was facing severe balance of payment crisis, when we went to IMF, they also agreed to give us loan. But they have put many conditions like you have to liberalize your economy, right? You have to privatize your economy. You have to globalize your economy. You have to allow our players to come and join in the Indian market. So though it was good for India, but they actually kept these conditions for their own personal benefit, because they want to establish their companies in India. Because earlier, before 1991, India was a closed economy, which means that we were not trading a lot with other countries, right? But they insisted that you have to open up your economy, only then we will give you the loans, right? So upon these conditions and based on the opinion and consultation of different people, somehow we secured the loan and all, but we are not given control in the IMF. So who will control IMF? It is dependent on how much they are contributing. Now let us say IMF has some 1 lakh crores of fund. If India is giving 50,000 crores fund, we will have 50% dominance. But you know what IMF said? We don't want your money. Only our European Union countries will control it. Even if you give money, we'll just throw it out. We don't want your money. We want our people to control it. That is why they're not allowing other countries to increase their stake in IMF. Same applies to World Bank also. And one important thing is that the chairman of World Bank, who is the chairman of World Bank? He is a person of Indian origin. Yeah, Ajay Banga, Ajaybanga. So he is the chairman of World Bank. Ajay Banga, he is the chairman of World Bank. Next. Yeah, regarding BRICS, that will be sufficient. And then Prime Minister Modi presented Russian President Vladimir Putin with a Sohrai painting from Hazirbagh district in Jharkhand. Not very important. Some painting he has presented. When Prime Minister Modi is going to Russia also, this short fellow will give some painting to him, right? So which is a very common thing. Then this is very important. World Health Organization declares Egypt as a malaria-free nation. So in the exam, they'll ask you, which country was recently declared as malaria-free nation? It is Egypt. And Jordan became the first country in the world to eliminate leprosy. What is leprosy?
Kusti rogam.
Yes. How many of you watched the movie I movie? So what he has is actually a kind of leprosy, right? So whenever you have leprosy, there are a lot of bubbles on your face, your body parts are not in shape, right? So Jordan became the first country to eliminate. So generally I'll add images, but somehow I forgot to add it. Tomorrow we'll show, not an issue, right? But after going home, you search what is leprosy, you'll find it, you'll find the figures on the internet, right? And do you know that leprosy is a ground for divorce in Hindu law? After marriage, if husband or wife is suffering from leprosy, you can go and file for divorce by saying that, I don't want to live with this, not so good looking male or female, right? Uh-huh. Even? No, that is a different thing. I mean, that is not a, see, according to the Hindu Marriage Act, there are certain conditions, like, for example, they'll tell that you should not have a venereal disease. Now, venereal disease has two conditions. Condition number one, that it has to be communicable. It has to transfer from one person to another. Condition number two, that it should be incurable. There should not be any remedy for it. So I don't think that is a venereal disease. But some people are definitely filing, divorce for very silliest of the silliest reasons. Maybe somebody's dressing is not good, or somebody is not buying her branded clothes, right? So due to multiple reasons, they are filing, which we'll discuss in the family law chapter. Next. Very, very important. Second, Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on Civil Aviation. What is civil aviation?
Public airlines.
No, not public airlines. Airlines for the transportation of human beings, right? So ministerial conference means actually means that the ministers of civil aviation will go and participate in the meeting. Who is the union minister for civil aviation in India?
Ram Mohan Naidu.
Very good. So it is Ram Mohan Naidu. Next. Yeah. So recently it was held Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on Civil Aviation. It was held in New Delhi, whereas the first conference was held in Beijing, which is in China, right? Which is the second largest domestic airline market in the world. What is the first one?
USA.
USA. Very good. Next, see, that's why I kept these things in bold, which are very important. Australia becomes the first country in the world to ban social media to the children below age of 16. Yeah, that is how it is there in the current affairs. It is very important because by allowing people to watch social media, they are suffering from brain rot, right? Now, it is a very good move which is taken by Australia to ban social media. Now, they can ask this question, and this is a most probable question in the exam. Next. Mexico becomes the first country in the world to allow voters to elect judges. Very, very, very important. Yes. Now, judges are not appointed according to the recent law made by the Mexico. Normal voters will elect the judges. Who appoints the judges in India?
President.
President.
President. This is a technical answer. But practically, who is appointing judges?
Citizens.
No.
Prime
Prime Minister.
No. Judges are appointing judges. Right. Yeah. Collegium is a group of judges where you'll have Chief Justice of India and 4 senior most judges if you want to appoint for the Supreme Court. And for High Court, it is Chief Justice of India plus 2 senior most judges. Now, don't worry if you don't understand this concept. We will discuss it in detail in the Supreme Court chapter. But Mexico has become the first country in the world to allow voters to elect judges. And India is perhaps the only country where judges are appointing judges. I mean, though it is appointed by the president, who is not a judge, but practically judges are appointing judges. Who is the present Chief Justice of India?
Sanjeev Khanna.
Sanjeev Khanna. Very important. Next. Shanghai, we talked about it. So Shanghai was founded by which 2 countries? Russia and China. International Solar Alliance was founded by which 2 countries?
India and France.
India and France. Very good. So where was the recent Shanghai meeting held? It was held in Kazakhstan. Right. Very important. Next. Next, we have important books. Right? So in important books, there are some books which are given over here. And all the books are not very important because in the books and authors, there's nothing to explain. See, this fellow has authored this book. But I have highlighted certain books which are very important and there is more probability of those books coming in the exam. Right. Let us look at those books once very quickly and we'll end the session at 7:30. First, the book Tippu Sultan. Tippu Sultan, the Saga of Mysore Interregnum. This was authored by Vikram Sampath. Important book. Now, the book Beyond the Higgs Boson. This is not very important. This book is important. Tippu Sultan book is authored by Vikram Sampath. Next. The book Bring It On was authored by para-athlete Deepa Malik. Very, very important. Now, what is the meaning of para-athlete? Yeah, so they're disabled, but they are, they are playing. So there is blind cricket, right? You might have seen. And India is hosting one blind cricket this year, right? Now, this book is authored by para-athlete Dr. Deepa Malik. And she is an athlete in which game? In shot put, right? This is very important. Next, the book Dalai Lama's Secret to Happiness. This was authored by Dr. Dinesh Sharma, which is also very important. Now, who is this Dalai Lama? Have you ever heard of him? Yeah, he's a Buddhist monk who took asylum in India. Yeah, so he took protection in India when he was, expelled there in the Tibetan and Chinese forces. So this is again a very important book. And next, the book Breaking Rocks and Barriers, Sudeep Sen Gupta, not very important. This book is very important. Ratan Tata, A Life. This book is authored by whom? Thomas Matthew. High probability of this question coming in the exam. This person, Ratan Tata, he was awarded with, was he awarded with Bharat Ratna? No. He was awarded with other awards like Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. About the awards, we'll discuss in detail again. Right, but this book is very important. Next. There is a small spelling mistake over here. Jamsetji Tata. Right. So the book Jamsetji Tata, which is Powerful Learnings for Corporate Lessons. This is authored by R. Gopal Krishnan and Harish Bhatt. This is also a very important book because of the recent demise of Ratan Tata. Right. Very important. Who was recently appointed as the chairman of Tata Trusts?
Noel Tata.
Noel Tata.
Very good. Next, the book Why Bharat Matters is authored by S. Jaishankar. Very, very important book because this is authored by the External Affairs Minister. Right. Other some small books, you just read it on your own. Very, very important. The book Witness was authored by Sakshi Malik and Jonathan Selvaraj. Sakshi Malik was also an Olympian. So she was a wrestler. And recently she was there in the news for protesting, against the government of India and government of Haryana. Right. So this is again very, very important. And then some random book is given. This is very, very important. Again, the book Speaking with Nature, The Origins of Indian Environmentalism. This is authored by Ramachandra Guha. So Ramachandra Guha is a very famous author. He has authored books on history, on environment, and also on the history of cricket. Right. Very, very important. Next. The book Within the Leadership Legacy of Narendra Modi was authored by Dr. R. Balasubramaniam. Right. Because Narendra Modi is there, this book might become really important. Yeah, some random books are given. You can see it. Okay. Regarding index and rankings, we will discuss them tomorrow. Okay. Is there any confusion in today's class? I guess no. Sorry. Okay, yes. Online, do you have any doubt or confusion?
Sir, what are the dialogue partners?
I will give it in the notes. So there's China, Australia, and other. So dialogue partners are the countries who have come for discussion. So dialogue is basically discussion. So these countries which are there, they are not a part of ASEAN. So they are outsiders who have come for discussion.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So the notes will be shared on the portal, but I think after it is done, they might share it with you, like after the June to December part is done. So you just go through it, and if you have any doubt, other than that, is there any other doubt? Yes, Tanzim, it is very important to revise it after the class. Okay, it will hardly take 5 to 10 minutes if you are revising, right? So by tomorrow, Charan will actually get in touch with you people to help you how to understand, how to actually access the recordings and the notes in the on the portal, right? So you just do that and revise the notes carefully after completing the class. Okay, if you do that, you will remember. And another important tip which I want to give is don't see current affairs as, like reading something or remembering something. Try to develop interest in that. So when you develop interest, it will be easy for you to, remember certain things. Yes, Sanjay, what are you doing? Pay attention here. So if you are developing interest in the subject, it will be very easy for you to remember what is being taught in the class. If you're feeling that, array, there is something Shanghai, there is something else, then it will be very difficult. So you have to, develop interest and curiosity. What is this Shanghai? Why Europe and Russia is coming together? Why China is there here? So you have to develop interest like that. If you're doing that, you will be in a position to remember the things easily, right? So this is very important. Any other questions if you have?
Sir, the Hindu newspaper enough for current affairs, sir?
It is not required as such, but if you are going through it, then it is good, but it might not be sufficient, because it will be very difficult for you to read all the newspapers and remember everything from there. So you can read the newspaper and attend the classes. That will be sufficient.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, no chance actually. So you should avoid using social media. I mean, if it is there, if you are following, you can look at any one site like GK Today or something. GK Today is not a social media site, by the way. It is a educational website. So there every day he'll put a lot of questions related to current affairs. You can do that, right? No use, because what is happening in social media is that some things are good. You are knowing it fast, but they see in social media, the purpose is not to give you education. The purpose is to generate a lot of views. So sometimes even with half-baked information, they'll publish the news. They really don't know, right? So you have to be very careful with such social media people. And if you open social media, you might actually suffer from brain rot. So you have to be very careful, right? Brain rot. Okay, guys. I hope everything is clear, and we'll catch up tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.